This the Korea.
Hello Buccaneers, we are at Hampton Inn and Suites, and today we're going to show you the fun things you can do in Casper, Wyoming. Our first stop is the Wyoming Veterans Memorial Museum. This museum preserves and shares history and impact of Wyoming's veterans. First is the World War I exhibit. These are gas masks from World War I, and if you put them on, you look like an alien. Next is the World War II section. These are grenades. You just throw it and it explodes. Ted Gostas graduated from Cheyenne High School, and he was in solitary confinement for more than 4 years in Vietnam. He was in a 3x7x6 cell for 23 hours and 50 minutes a day, so he was only let out for 10 minutes a day. And when he finally got released from the prison, he used art as therapy.
This is the Korean War section.
This exhibit is items from World War II. This is a temporary exhibit on the Postal Service during World War II. This says that censors reviewed each mail or V-mail coming into the US because I guess there could have been mail from the enemy. And lastly, this is the Wings of Freedom Gallery. And that is the Wyoming Veterans Memorial Museum.
My favorite part was seeing all the different weapons that they fought with.
It was interesting seeing the items that they used in all the wars, including World War II and the Vietnam War. And that story about the guy in solitary confinement was pretty sad. Our next stop is the Nicolaysen Art Museum. This is a cultural anchor for central Wyoming and the only museum in the state dedicated to contemporary art. The first gallery we're checking out is the Land of Joyous Color. This painting is called It Tastes Like Chicken, and that's a snake. This artist seems to be influenced by Van Gogh, but the colors are very vibrant. I really like this style. This painting is called It Tastes Like Chicken. Does that sound familiar? That's because there was a smaller one back there, but this one's huger. I think this is acrylic and the last was watercolor. We picked up a scavenger hunt, so we go to each gallery and try to find these things. Sketch all 6 to earn a prize.
I was a toddler when my mother died. The hole in the weaving of me.
This gallery is called A Shallow Look at the Deep End, People, Places, Things. I have a problem with this painting. It looks too absurd. This exhibit is called All the Right Angles, and they're all abstract arts, and many of them have triangles with right angles. Not always. Like here there are right angles, but this one doesn't. However, this one's called Chocolate Coma. Actually, this does have a right angle. I just didn't see it at first.
Come on, Campbell. Come on, Campbell. Lastly, we're at the Discovery Center.
I'm gonna play with Brush Stir, which is a digital painting. Ready? Oh wow, okay. Let's make a cow, of course.
I'm gonna make a paper sculpture. I just glued some loops together and then it became like this. I'll keep it. I'm turning in my scavenger hunt for a prize.
And that is the Nicolaysen Art Museum.
My favorite part was seeing all the different types of art, and also you can get very good prizes that you probably can't get anywhere else.
I like how there was watercolor art, acrylic art, especially in that very vibrant exhibit, and then there was abstract triangles. There's just so much to see here. The galleries rotate here, so by the time you come here, you'll probably see something different. Our next stop is the Bishop House. Built in 1907, this was the first multi-story brick home in Casper. These are the bishops. They made their money from wool, and that's how they built this mansion. This is the master bedroom, and right now a doll is currently sleeping on it. This is the formal parlor, and children would not be allowed in here. So I'm gonna get out.
This is the living room, and this is where the whole family hung out.
Everything in this dining room is original, like the chairs are from 115 years ago. And this is a radio that cost $65 back then, which is $1,300 today. I mean, it would be cool if you could travel back in time where things were so cheap and you brought your money, but then that would probably ruin the space-time continuum. This is the kitchen where they fed 11 people out of. This is a phone from 1902, and at that time, Casper had 49 subscribers. This is the girls' bedroom, and these dolls are actually from the family. Imagine if one day our house becomes a museum, and then Cow Moo is just laying on the bed. This was the little boy's bedroom. Now it's used for special exhibits, these quilts. Oh my. Actually, this is a very good attic. This is the attic. I actually thought it would be smaller, but this is the biggest room in the house. And there are so many toys here. Look how many stuffed animals they have. We have way less, so we're not gonna donate any of them.
Creepy doll.
And that is the Bishop house.
My favorite part was the attic because it had many different toys from long ago.
I'm surprised by how well kept this place is. There's many original furnitures and toys. And it's interesting that 9 children lived in this house. It's not a super big house. I mean, there is room, especially the attic is pretty big, but I think it might be uncomfortable living with 9 people. Now we're gonna play a scavenger hunt with Let's Roam. So let's start it. All right, we're gonna press Cultural Casper. Up the Rocky Mountains, there's a small city that's big on culture. On today's epic scavenger hunt of Casper, we roam the city center in search of wondrous public art, cultural institutions, and architectural marvels. It's gonna be 1.3 miles, it'll take 1 hour. It's very challenging. Uh-oh. The primary focus is culture and the travel method is walking. We're starting at the Casper City Hall, so I'm gonna press Start Hunt now. First things first, take an epic photo with your team. Cheese. We start today at Casper City Hall. This modern building is the 3rd city hall in Casper's 130-year history. Though this building is comfortable with all the modern amenities, one wonders how the mayor gets any work done with one of the city's best sculptures out their window. The fountainhead was created by a famous sculptor.
Oh, there's a question.
2 out of 3 people have something in common. What is it? We need to find what's common with 2 of the 3 statues. We found that 2 of the 3 are probably wearing hats, so we're gonna select that.
Correct. Now we're looking for the Natrona County Courthouse.
When the railroad was completed, Casper became an important point for shipping cattle and wool. How many dogs are depicted in this settler's frieze? We're running out of time, so we're just gonna guess this one. What year was the station built? Brother, take a guess and we'll learn either way. Unfortunately, we're out of time, so we're gonna finish with only 80% completed. That's a B minus. All right, so this was a pretty cool hunt because we saw many places that we would have never been to in Casper, and now it feels like we know the city better, right? We've seen many statues, and I think my favorite stop was this because of that fountain. We're gonna put Cow Moo under it in a few minutes, but we didn't really plan well. You definitely do need 2.5 hours to complete this, and we cheated like twice. Once we just looked on Google, and then we also took our car all around.
My favorite destination was probably this one because over here is somehow nice and cool, and also there is fountains that Cow Moo can go under.
The next stop is Historic Trails West. This place lets you ride in authentic wooden wheel wagons and learn about the history and the lives of pioneers as they traveled across the West. Today, Mr. Nick will be our driver and tour guide.
We're not going to cross the river, though.
Oh man, that would actually be fun.
No, that wouldn't.
Mr. Nick is telling us stories of explorers on the Oregon Trail.
On the horizon there, that last big dark boulder, that's where the Oregon Trail, it went around that to the left.
That's a dead cow. No, that's a real cow. Brother's riding at the front of the wagon. And that is the wagon ride at Historic Trails West.
My favorite part was being in the front of the wagon because you can see way more and also it's way bumpier, so it's way more fun.
My favorite part was learning about the history of the area, and it's cool that this is the same place that all the settlers passed through on the Oregon Trail. Some interesting trivia is that they traveled around 12 miles a day, and also there's no photographic evidence of the Oregon Trail, and everything is told through the women's diary because the men couldn't write.
Time for a chuck wagon dinner.
Miss Neola is preparing a Dutch oven meal for us. After dinner, there's apple cobbler for dessert.
Now let's go check out the teepee that we're gonna sleep in.
As the sun sets, we are hanging out with a couple camping in their RV next to us. The following morning, Miss Neola made us a yummy breakfast. And that is our stay at Historic Trails West.
My favorite part was the wagon since I got to be in the front, but experience sleeping on the teepee was also very cool.
We've never gone camping before, so this was a very different experience, but it felt safe because there's no wild animals aside from a few flies, and also the gates are locked at night, so it's very safe. It was fun living like a pioneer with a complete dinner and breakfast, and it was also nice that we met people in an RV to have a campfire with.
See you in the next video. Bye!